Anambra is a land of rule of law, and where rule of law prevails, law and order prevails, and impunity cannot survive. Yeah. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Ready? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to today. This is a briefing as a follow-up to what has gone on in Anambra over the last 24 hours or more. I think from the morning of yesterday, we made good our promise to the Anambra to have a clean, green, and livable society. A society where there is rule of law, where there is law and order, and where the planned cities, the few planned cities that we have, that we must respect the plans as they are, where impunity has no place. We began the process of desilting or demolition of illegal structures that are causing tremendous harm and damage to our society. Onitsha, which is the largest city in the southeast, and I would say one of the largest in Africa, as a matter of fact, that used to be home to everyone, has been bastardized, the master plan bastardized by people who just deliberately, with impunity, just build everywhere and with no consequence. We must have a society where there is consequence. And let me say this. Yesterday, we made good our promise to begin the process of demolishing several of these illegal structures, in Onitsha particularly. And particularly to be able to open again the waterway that goes into the River Niger. Over the years, people have, with impunity, built houses, all manner of houses, including churches, along the waterway. And the consequence has been that the drainages are blocked. Water, these floods, during the rainy season in particular, no longer get into River Niger. And then the streets and the roads are flooded, killing people every year. Killing people every year. People die. Properties are destroyed. Our roads become emergency rivers whenever it rained. But this cannot go on. We began the process of reclaiming back our state, taking back our city, rebuilding Onitsha. Our urban regeneration cannot gain traction without cleaning the waterways, getting the place clean and green. And we began that process yesterday. But it began with wide stakeholder consultations. First, on the 1st of April, all the buildings that actually block the waterways were all marked by the Fiscal Planning Authority of the state. On the 1st of April, they were marked with a lot of noise and news around it. Those affected knew. On the 20th of April, I sent my deputy governor to go and hold literally like a town hall meeting with all the landlords affected. Those who didn't come sent representatives. On the 20th of April, on the 5th of May, I went myself to Onitsha and had a town hall meeting with Onitsha landlords. It was a full day thing. But in between there were like 10 days of public announcements by the Anambra Broadcasting Service to the people to know, for the public to know. Even the deaf in Anambra knew that these properties along the Sakamori and many other illegal structures have been marked for demolition. We pleaded with the owners to please remove these things by themselves. And 3 good months, they were supposed to be given 2 weeks. 3 good months, April, May, June, passed. We gave sufficient time, sufficient notices, sufficient everything. But of course, in a world where people are used to impunity, people thought it's business as usual. Government would just make noise and go away. It will never happen. Of course, I want to assure the Anambra, we're determined to restore law and order to Anambra. We're determined to build this livable and prosperous homeland. And it must start with restoration of security, restoration of law and order, where rule of law prevails. And so yesterday we began the process. And the process began with trying to demolish several of these. And I want to report to you that so far, so good. So far, so good. We've achieved tremendous results. And the people have cooperated largely, except one incident that happened when to one prophet, Odumeje, whose church was, I think a chunk of the church happened to lie on the same waterway, marked. And he himself spoke severally to the deputy governor about the fact that the place was marked. So he knew about demolition and so on. And so yesterday when they now came to make effect of the thing, I understand that, he drove into the place in, this is the account I was given by the agencies, security agencies, is that he drove into the place in a very menacing manner and almost rammed into the security officers themselves and came out and went to accost the guy who was driving the machine, the equipment, with intent of stopping him from going on. And of course, the security agencies had to, intervene to maintain law and order. And incidentally, in the process of it, I saw in the video that I think he was manhandled because, as I said, he was adamant and trying to be very aggressive and so on and so forth. Why we don't, excuse or say, okay, whether it's manhandled or this is a society of rule of law, so to speak, everybody is entitled to justice and fairness and so on and so forth. And whereas he is entitled to be treated fairly and in a humane way in the circumstance, but let nobody, but dare to doubt the resolve of this government and the security agencies to maintain law and order. To maintain law and order. If you go to challenge the authorities will reply you. We've been fighting criminality all over, and I want to tell our citizens, these law enforcement agents have been fighting to keep us alive. They're putting their own lives on the way. They are still putting their life on the way to help us to clean our places and so on and so forth. And let nobody, they also deserve to be treated with decency, respect, and so on. They should be honored. And the Anambra State respects our law enforcement agents. And we will continue to support our law enforcement agents. The citizens, no doubt, have their own rights as well. We encourage our law enforcement agents, to the extent possible, to treat ordinary citizens with the decency that they deserve. But I dare say to people who trade in impunity and who say nothing can ever happen, to the extent of going to dare the law enforcement agents and dare to want to physically stop the ongoing demolition efforts, so that nobody should doubt our resolve to keep this state safe and orderly. And I tried myself. In fact, when I had the account of what happened, I called him myself. I placed a call. It rang out yesterday, and I called him again this morning. I wanted to hear personally his own side of the story before we could make a determination. I'm sure if he looks through his phone, he will see my missed calls. I called him because, every citizen, I'm governor of everyone. And so I intend to hear from everybody and be able to make a balanced and fair judgment. But the truth be told, they were sufficiently informed. Everybody knew that this would happen. He himself had tried to want to ask, okay, probably, probably talk to our deputy governor. I've been following their conversations and his own stuff. So he knew that this was coming. But unfortunately, this must happen regardless of whose ox is God. And what has happened so far, ladies and gentlemen, is that when I said that it's been going on so far, so good. For example, that Holy Ghost intervention church involving part of the gate fence and so on and so forth is the one that is directly being brought down, blocking the drainage channel. There is almost estate fence wall, which was within the stipulated setback, that has been also done with. St. Dominic Catholic Church figure involving the old fence wall and shops blocking the drainage channels have also been brought down, and several shanties, structures along St. Dominic and Wangene drainage channel have also been brought down. And then structures, shanties, and fence wall along Wangene drainage and Biafra market entering River Niger. Those have been also done. And shanties along Akuna, Ojete, Silas Walks, Walliwa, Fege, and Onitsha South drainage channels have also been dealt with. Now we have the area at Ebulekwe area of Silas Walks. That's also been dealt with. And just as we were talking a few minutes ago, they were actually going to Lady Queen of Peace Catholic Church also to take out the portion of the church premises that interfere with the drainage channel also along the way. It will also give way. It will also give way. I think there are 2 Catholic church parishes along that channel. All the parts that impinge on the drainage way have been taken away. And I understand when they went to St. Dominic yesterday, the Reverend Father in charge actually granted interview. They're very cooperative. They knew, everybody knew that this was going to come. And everybody knew and still know that this is in public interest. We can't have a society where, the waterways, the drainage ways, Anambra's existential threat is the environment. The flooding, the cause all manner of erosion, killing people every year. And now we want to solve the problem. And some people want it to continue as it used to be, with people dying every day, with people, every year, and properties being damaged, and erosion sites developing everywhere. Of course, it just got to stop. So all I want to say to you in the Bible now is that so far, so good. The demolitions will continue and until we clear Sakamori. And let me also say this. To all those who have their illegal structures, unapproved structures in the markets, some people are building structures in places where there should be public parks. You take the main market, you go there, they have almost filled the parks there with all kinds of structures. Some of them, there is one that was ongoing, and I personally spoke to the developer, and that place has been marked. As day follows night, it will come down. Even if they build it a 100-story building, it must come down. Impunity must stop for us to have a decent society. And this is what we are about. We're fighting criminality and impunity. That's the foundation of society. And without it, nothing else will happen. And with God on our side, Anambra will continue to win. Thank you very much. That must be part of the challenge of our society, is that people are not used to having consequences for action. And we want to tell the Anambra and Nigerians and the world, everywhere in the world, there is consequence for misconduct. There is consequence for misdemeanor. If you build in a place where you are not authorized to build, where you don't have a legal right to build, there must be consequence. Indeed, we had asked the people who had built on these channels to remove them by themselves. Now that they have failed, and I'm telling you, by the time we finish these demolitions, it's costing money to do that. It's costing us money to do the demolitions. It's going to cost money to take away the debris. We're going to put down the cost and send each one of them the bill. Yes, we'll send them the bill for the cost of these demolitions and the cost of doing this. Somebody was asking, somebody called me and said, oh, can they be given another place? I said, or should they be, you should be asking how much they will be paying the state. How much they should be paying for the people who have died because of their action. We should be asking those questions. 3 staff or 4 young men of United Bank of Africa died a few years ago, 3 or so years ago. Young people promising they just got new jobs, got into a car after job, but came out. But the places were blocked. And the massive flood, such as swept their car into a ditch, they were all drowned. That's the consequence of what these people blocking the drainage. They're the ones who should be apologizing to Ndi Anambra and pay compensation for the harm that they have been bringing to the city, to the people. For the deaths, for the people that their actions have led to their death. You know, this society can quite sometimes become funny. Funny. You do this, you tell me, oh, you built it. I'm sure God, in his infinite wisdom, would have been very, very offended by that. By anybody claiming that he built the church to worship God, whereas you use that church to create a circumstance that is killing people, destroying the environment, destroying the properties of others. And you say you're worshiping. No! God will be angry. God is angry. So for those people who've done this, there will be consequence. When we finish this, we'll compile the bill. The cost of doing this, I'm going to slide it on them. Then they have to pay. They have to pay the state for the cost of doing this. That's what we must begin to do. If you have any illegal structure anywhere, we are coming. If you haven't gotten your approvals, legal approvals, set, and anywhere, again, we are coming even for the people who gave, if you've given wrong approvals. If you've given people approvals to build in a place where you know that this place is not to be built upon, the consequences also coming. We're going to fish those people out and hold them publicly accountable. Because this is the only way this impunity can stop. This is not a jungle. This is a society. And they go to Abuja and they see the order. They travel abroad. They enjoy the order. And then they come here. You think it's a place, a jungle. You can just do anything. And there's no consequence. No. The Anambra that I lead, in Anambra that I lead, there must be law and order. There must be rule of law. There must be consequence for misconduct. Thank you very much. I think when I applied for this job, I knew that it's not going to be a tea party. And part of the reason we applied for this job is to join hands with all the people of goodwill to build a livable and prosperous homeland. And in doing that, you're not going to be able to make an omelette without breaking some eggs. There will be consequences. Part of the changes that will come, very dangerous. Those who benefit are not going to walk away without a fight. We know all of this. We've been through this road before. But God, in his infinite wisdom, knows why he chose this time we are determined to serve God by helping to make our place livable. And in that context, I'm not quite sure it is about who, it is about what is right. And we're going to do every day, my prayer to God is to give us the wisdom to know that which is right and the courage to get it done. And for me, and in this bit of this demolition thing, I think, how do you put it? I've just named to you 2 parishes of the Catholic Church. And by the way, I am Catholic, a proud Catholic. But 2 parishes of the Catholic Church are being touched in this demolition process. And they are cooperating. They are cooperating. The leadership has shown leadership. The leadership of the Catholic Church has shown leadership. That is what leadership is about. Even when you have, oh, sorry, I think that was a mistake. Please, take it out. Yes, that's what decency is about. That's what leadership is about. But when people are wrong, they are wrong. And they look you in the eye and they're doing like gra-gra. Should be in prison. Not gra-gra. No. No. So, Anambra will continue, will be a place where law and order prevails. And there will be no sacred cows. Thank you very much.